Hello and welcome to the training on tile components. This isn't meant to be an exhaustive training. That would take years to do, but it's meant to kind of give you a 30,000 foot view of what are some of your options. Again, there are so many in tile that people don't think about. And again, the reason that you really do need to get, once you're ready, you really do need to get an on-site customized bid for your project. But what we want to do here is just kind of explain some of the options that are available on your calculator so that you can get a better estimate for yourself. Now, when we talk about underlayment and waterproofing, these are things that go back behind the tile, and we'll look at some schematics here in a second to flesh that out a little bit for you. But in terms of underlayment for flooring, these can be what we call crack isolation. There are soundproof barriers. There are uncoupling mats. There are all kinds of different types of stick-on, roll-on, tie-down underlayments. Too many to really get into. But generally, an underlayment is going to be something that helps prevent cracking of your tile because of the underlying shifting of the subfloor. So if there are cracks in your cement or anything like that, you want to get crack isolation. And again, your professional estimator can explain more to you. But in most cases, at the very least, you're going to need some kind of crack isolation underlayment. So that's what we're talking about. If you there are rare cases where none is needed, but in most cases you're going to need at least some type of underlayment. Waterproofing, again, this can be a sheet type, a roll-on type, many different manufacturers and different types, and they are for usually wet areas like a bathroom or a kitchen, maybe especially like a laundry room. You'll definitely want that. So if you are just tiling a dining room, you probably don't need waterproofing. If you're like I said, in a laundry room, I think absolutely need waterproofing. And there are several ways to go with that. A premium grout or a premium thin set. For a grout, for instance, that might be an epoxy. An epoxy actually turns out to be harder than the actual tile itself. But there are also other premium grouts that have additives, polymers, and that kind of thing that make your grout stronger and more resistant to moisture. And again, discuss that with your estimator. A premium thin set might have special polymers added to it that help, again, for the underlayment. You might be able to forego an underlayment if you go with a premium thin set that has anti-fracture elements to it. And then the accent or pattern, if you're going to put like a special stripe in your tile, or maybe you want to have a diamond pattern, this tends to add cost to your flooring, and you should know that when you're doing your own self-bid. Now, the same kind of things when we talk about walls, but instead of underlayment, you're going to have some kind of backer behind. But the other things are still the same: waterproofing, premium grouts, premium thin sets. They do add cost to your project, but they add quality and longevity to the tile. And since tile tends to be a somewhat expensive part of your remodeling projects or new construction, whatever the case may be, you want to get it done right the first time. When we talk about base, we look at cut down, coved, and bullnosed, and we'll look at some drawings of some of the potentially different options available to you, depending on, again, on the tile that you get. But a cut down basically means if you're using a 12 by 12 tile or a 6 by 6, whatever, for your floor, a lot of times they can just cut the tile in half or to a 4-inch piece and use that as the base. That's what's called cut down. Very common. A coved base and a bullnose base, we'll look at those here momentarily, but as you can probably surmise, coved and bullnose is going to be usually more expensive than your cut down. When we talk about wall trim, we have some of the same thing. We can still use a cut down piece, a bull nose, and also very common and getting more popular is the metal base. You can also use that for your, I said metal base, but a metal trim, and that can be used on the base as well. So again, talk to your estimator for some more personalized options. So let's take a look at, first of all, some of the trim pieces that we're talking about. Now, bull nose basically means just a rounded corner here. This particular piece is a 2" by 6" piece. We call it a 4200, and that would be for a thick set application. More commonly used these days is the surface bull nose, or 4269. But you can see just in this one particular tile series, look at all of the options for bull nose that you have. And then when it comes to coved base, what a cove means is that the bottom of the tile is rounded. In some states, if you're in a commercial application, a commercial project, if you're in a kitchen area or bathroom area, it may be health codes that determine whether or not you want to go with coved. When we talk about the out corners and the in corners, remember, if we go back and look at the trim, both the trim and the base, outside and inside corners, the reason that we ask that in the tool is that these can be very expensive pieces. Here we see a coved piece with a radius corner, and so this would wrap around the edge of a wall, and usually these are going to be 3 to 4 times more expensive than the actual trim piece itself. So that's why we ask about outside and inside corners, because these pieces can be so much more expensive. Inside corners are becoming less and less popular. You can use quarter rounds sometimes for these types of applications. But anyway, it's just a good thing to know and determine for your budget. Okay, we did want to take a look at some of the schematics just to kind of show you. Here we see this is for the actual coating for tile installation, and here we see just a run-of-the-mill, what most people think is how every tile job goes. This bottom layer here is the cement. You have a layer of a thin set. In this case, this is from a manufacturer, a particular manufacturer, and so they're trying to show us that they need the Megaflex crack prevention mortar, so that would be a premium thin set, and then the tile that just sits on top of that. But jobs can get much more complicated than that. If we look at this particular application, here we have our cement underneath. Then you have a primer that would be a rolled-on primer to separate from a poured gypsum underlayment. Then on top of that, they're showing what's called RedGuard, which is a waterproofing and crack prevention membrane. Then on top of that, we have our premium thin set, and then the tile. Let's take a look at another application. In this particular one, we have the waterproofing right up against the concrete. Then we have what's called a thick set with a reinforcing mesh or wire in the middle. Then our thin set, and then the tile. Let's take a look at another. This one is over wood. So we have the wood base subfloor here. Then we have a layer of the crack prevention mortar with the Easy Mat. Again, this is a particular manufacturer. Many manufacturers will have the same or very similar products. Then another layer of the thin set on top of that, and then the tile. And here's just yet another version or flavor of this kind of installation. If we look at walls, here is a schematic of just the tile with a layer of thin set over. It doesn't say sheetrock, but that's kind of what it's showing here. In wet areas, inside of a tub or shower, a lot of states have adopted a code that says you can't use what we used to use is called green board, but now it has to be at least cementitious backer. Here is a side view of a tub surround. So this little lip is where your tub is. you'd be standing inside here in the shower. This is the shower wall here. So you just have your Wonderboard, a layer of thin set, and then your tile. Here we have basically the same thing, except for it has a vapor retardant or waterproofing back behind there. Again, this is just a wall with the old time, what we call thick set, with waterproofing and then thin set on top of that. I don't mean to show you this to confuse you. My point is to kind of give you an overview of what are the options that you have. A lot of these are going to be for commercial and not and maybe a little bit of overkill for residential. But again, it's something that you need to add into your Estimizer so that you not only can get a good and accurate bid for yourself, but so that you can understand to be able to discuss these things when you do get your customized on-site bid. Okay, we appreciate your time. We hope to see you soon up on the other trainings. Thank you.